Hi, this is Carol Watson, and welcome to another Thrive Talk. And for those of you that are new to Thrive, we are a 20-minute conversation and chat with a thought leader that's in the industry to share some of their insights and some of the things that are going on, the backstory and the inside scoop, to let us all get the inside window to the workings of some of the most successful people in our industry. So we're excited to have as our guest today for our Thrive Talk, Lateef Sarnor, and he is the CEO and founder of Collide TV. Welcome, Lateef.
Thank you. Thank you.
So to kick us off, your bio is on your post, and people can get an idea of the amazing background and journey that you've had, Black Enterprise, BET, AOL. Tell us a little bit, first of all, about what you're doing now. What do you do at Collide?
Okay. So I'm CEO and founder of Collide TV, and essentially Collide TV is an online TV network where we find and develop content from from all over the web, and we find and develop content from all over the web, and then we publish that on our network. So we are basically the next generation TV network, and what we do is really look at how do we create a platform where people can come and consume interesting series, how-to videos, documentaries, and the like, and we make that all accessible via online, mobile, and social.
So tell us about the background that brought you to Collide and the concept around it.
Yeah, so as you mentioned, my background really started. It started actually before Black Enterprise. I was at DefJam Records, so always grew up a big fan of popular culture, music, TV, what have you. And then so I worked at DefJam and then went on to Black Enterprise many years later. But it was at BET where I really discovered my true love for production and TV making, and especially as the digital boom was happening. I really started to see that there was an opportunity to create a new form of content, which was a web series, and to be able to kind of really bring a lot of what traditional TV represents, but do it in a way that was shorter, quicker, cheaper. And so from there, the idea of developing a network that was based on kind of this new format, this short form format, was really exciting, and it was starting to take off. And when I left BET to go to AOL, I then got exposed even deeper to kind of how that's done on a very big scale, because at that time AOL acquired a company called 5 Men, which was a video-based distributor, and so I got to see exactly how they were taking short form content, packaging that up, and then distributing it. And I said, you know what, this is something that really would make sense for what I'm passionate about, which is people of color and telling stories that represent and reflect diverse audiences. And so I set out to create basically a multicultural version of kind of a YouTube, if you will. And then somewhere along the line, I started to think about it a little bit bigger, and this was right around the time when Netflix had started to take off again as a company around around original content, and then the light went off, and it was really a thought around, hey, we could be a Netflix for multicultural consumers. So taking kind of a leap from just being purely advertiser supported and just having ads run on our site, we could actually launch a subscription-based service that would really kind of bring together some of the best things of content as well as audience, and do that in a way that allowed for us to monetize the business in a different way. And so that's really the genesis of Collide. I was at Sundance a couple years ago, and when I was still at AOL, and I was on a panel having a conversation about monetization of content, and there were a bunch of content creators who were on YouTube saying, how do I get my content, how do I make money how do I get brands to look at my content? And I told them it was very difficult because at the time, and it still is true, you know, YouTube is an ecosystem that really is built on aggregating content, whether it's professional or it's, you know, non-professional content, but aggregating that content and then monetizing it, and then splitting that revenue with the content creator. And I think that you know, that model is something that is slowly becoming a challenge for content creators because you know, as the price that YouTube can charge advertisers continue to get pushed down, the split continues to be less for a lot of the content creators, and so they're not really making a lot of money. And my goal with Collide is to help content creators make a lot of money. If we make a lot of money, we want them to be able to, you know, not do this as just a passion project, but as a, you know, as a project that they get paid.
So is the model around subscriptions, is that something that you believe that consumers are going to resonate with? Is there a path that you've seen that it's been successful? Are there competitors in that space? Tell us more about that subscription model.
Yeah, so a couple of things. I think obviously Netflix has shown that a subscription model can be hugely successful. You know, once you bring together really good content with the ability to give people what they want, which is the flexibility to watch it where they want, when they want, however they want. But if you look at traditional TV and you think about HBO and Showtime, and those are all subscription-based services, right? And they've done extremely well. People have paid the premium for those products, and they've, you know, they've been able to sustain. The challenge for these companies now is that digital has unlocked this content from just being solely the domain of a cable set-top box or satellite set-top box, and now you can have a Roku or Apple TV, which pretty much replaces to a large degree that functionality, and it also allows for a lot more openness. And so now, you know, companies like myself can come in and establish their own presence and then charge for that. And so so, you know, there's definitely precedence to it. I think when you look at what's happening now in this space, companies like Vessel, which was started by a former Hulu, you know, Jason Kilar, is taking a somewhat similar but yet different model. They're charging subscriptions for early access to content. You look at a company like VHX, which allows content creators to charge however they want, whether it's a subscription or it's you know, pay, you know, download to own, or, you know, on demand. I think there's a lot of flexibility. Patreon is another company that's out there doing that. So you have a bunch of companies that are really kind of gravitating to this ecosystem of, you know, it can't just, I don't think long term you can solely sustain on advertising, just because, you know, again, there's intense pressure on what you can charge, and as technology continues to develop and things like programmatic buying make it more efficient for advertisers to get their advertising around the right content at a price that's probably more efficient than what's been in the past. I think that those things really make it challenging to kind of grow the business, you know, from that perspective. So subscriptions, I think, offer a great opportunity. And, you know, we've tested this and we've been testing it. We originally went out to an event in New York where it was probably about 10,000 people at the event, and, you know, we had a booth and we had people come by the booth and literally you know, talk to consumers about the idea of launching this and the price point and all the things that we were thinking, and overwhelmingly there was a response that was positive, and that you know, consumers came back to us and said, yes, we definitely are interested. And again, it hinges on, give me great content and I'll be willing to pay for it. And I think you're seeing that play out more and more now with, you know, with all the new entrants in the kind of subscription play that's happening on digital.
If you're moving into more of a subscription model, I'm interested in what you're finding consumers gravitate to in the content that you have. There's amazing, great shows that I can't wait to binge on. What have you found to be really popular with your audience?
Well, I think it's so things that I've seen generally that are very popular are some of the comedies. We have a slate of funny shows, everything from Finding My Obama, which is about a young lady who's trying to find her perfect mate, and for her, he has to have similar qualities as President Obama. But she ends up never finding that, and in the course of going through these serial dates that she goes on. But then also we have a series called Henry, which has done really well for us, about a guy who's 30 something and just trying to figure out life. And we've all kind of been there at some point where everything, even despite our best efforts, we tend to get in our own ways at time, and we're trying to figure out what's the next move, career-wise, family-wise, relationships. And so I think shows like that really resonate. Also, some of our docu-series profile shows do pretty well. So we did a show with beauty expert Melissa Hibbert, who's based out in LA, and it's called Behind the Glam. And she profiles beauty professionals that you don't necessarily see in the limelight, but they work with all the celebrities and all the folks that we know, and they don't necessarily get the shine because they're behind the scenes, they're behind the glam. And so it really resonated, especially for folks who are into fashion and beauty. We had the celebrity stylists, hair, makeup artists, and these were folks that were working with some of the biggest names in the business. And so we've seen those types of shows really resonate. And then I think the other piece that we want to really dive deep into is really around dramas. I think the dramas are the thing that really pull audiences in and help define a network. So if you think about any network in the last 20 years that is launched, they typically launched successfully off of a drama, whether that's Mad Men or it's The Sopranos or The Wire or it's House of Cards. Those are all shows that I think there's something about that dramatic element, that serial element, an episodic piece that pulls people in and allows for them to really, kind of engage with the content in a way that I think comedies can do some of that, but I've just seen that dramas have tended to be the way to really pull in large audiences and have them talking about it. Think about Empire, think about Power this past season for Stars. These types of shows, dramatic, compelling stories, and also reflective of the communities and the audiences that are watching it. So I think that's also a shift that we're really poised to be able to play an important part in, because we're focused on this diverse, multicultural audience, and that's not necessarily something that every network is out there with a focus on.
Tell us a little bit about what the journey has been for you as an entrepreneur. I believe it's your first entrepreneurial venture. What's been the learning for you, and what would you advise other want-to-be entrepreneurs that want to be part of the content distribution journey?
Sure. So as an entrepreneur in general, I think there's been a ton of learnings I learn every day. But I think my background prepared me to be, I think, where I'm at, right? My experience in working in different media companies and working on different types of platforms, whether that's TV or it's print, digital, I think is all been helpful. But I think one of the things that as an entrepreneur, you have to be focused, and you have to learn how to prioritize. I think prioritization is such an important thing, especially when you're a small startup business. There's so many things to do, and my checklist has become at times 40, 50 things to do. And so you have to prioritize. And so developing a way to kind of figure out what's the most urgent, versus things that you can delegate or put off. excuse me, I think is something that will be very helpful in giving you longevity. I think also just having a balance, right? When you're an entrepreneur, you tend to spend probably more time working on on the business than you did working for any other company. And I know for me, it's a 7-day a week, pretty much 24-hour a day type of thing for as far as the type of time I spend thinking about the business. Even if I'm not actively working on it, I could be watching the playoffs and I start thinking about something that I need to do on the business, and I might jot down a note or what have you. So I think, having a balance though, and figuring out when to kind of turn it off and disconnect for a minute so you can recharge is another thing. And then I think also having a good surrounding support group, right? People that you can count on, not just for business advice, but just as a support group, so that you can actually continue to live a life that doesn't feel so sheltered. Sometimes as an entrepreneur, whether you're a single business or you have a couple of employees, oftentimes, especially as the founder or CEO, you're often kind of alone making decisions and trying to figure things out and grappling with ideas and things that are sometimes life or death, right? It's like, if I do this, it's going to impact the business this way. And so sometimes you need other folks to bounce that off of, and whether that's mentors, advisory boards, or just friends that you trust their business acumen. I think all those things are helpful. But I think this has been the most rewarding work that I've done. Out of everything, because I'm charting a course for my own vision, whereas in the past I've been charting a course on someone else's vision. I think it's been very rewarding and fulfilling to be able to kind of see, a year later now, we launched last May, to see a year later where we started from to where we are, and I'm really excited about where the future is going to take the business as we continue to iterate and develop.
Yeah, you have a lot to be proud of in such a short year. There's amazing content and fabulous shows. And I know that there's a crowdfunding campaign going on now. So for those of us that love to find amazing content and really want to support the mission of having a place to find great, original, high quality content, how can we support you?
So you can easily go to our website, Collide TV. That's Collide with the K, KOLLIDE TV.com/crowdfund, and we set up a landing page there that it basically has our pitch video. It has some information about the crowdfund and an FAQ for those who are not familiar with what a crowdfund is. And then you can link directly off to our Indiegogo page. And if you're interested, you can donate whatever you're comfortable with. But if you can't donate, we also hope that you will share the word about what we're doing, because awareness is helpful. Piece of this as well. I think it's almost as valuable in some cases, because sometimes getting the word out can be a challenge, and trying to make more people aware of the platform and what we're doing, both for content creators as well as for consumers, I think is something that effectively we need the help of everyone to be able to kind of tell your social networks, tell your personal networks, email, LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, all of the above. So, I think if you could donate, that would be incredible. We have some great perks, but more importantly, you can get access to our subscription service, and you can also get access to some exclusive type events that we're doing around the shows that can engage even more. So I think it's not just, you'll get a t-shirt or a mug. It's really about stuff that we feel will draw the consumer closer to the brand, and also give you something really, really something real that you can use, right? A membership or or some sort of device that we're giving a Roku device with a certain level of membership, so that if you don't have an over-the-top device, you can actually get one with the membership. You can watch us, but you could also watch any of the other thousands of channels that are on Roku. And I think that that's something that in of itself is probably worth the that donation level. So donate and share the word, and of course watch, go online, watch Collide, and I think that those things are ways that anyone can help us, and that would be great.
That's awesome. So parting words for the Thrive community. I'm sure there'll be some incentives for the Thrive community to be subscribers, and we'll be sharing all of the great new launches of shows along the way on Thrive. Anything that you can share about what helps you to thrive that you have not already?
Yeah, so I think for me, it's really being grounded in family. To be honest with you, a lot of my motivation for this originated from kind of wanting to build a legacy for my son, right? And I think that I looked at what Bob Johnson has done. I looked at what Earl Graves has done. I look at so many leaders, Oprah Winfrey, what have you, that have built brands and companies that employ hundreds and if not thousands of people, and tend to leave a legacy that I think that will far outlast their time on this planet. And I want to be able to do that with what we're doing with Collide. I want to be able to empower content creators, especially those of color, diverse backgrounds, to be able to have a place that they can bring their content and tell their stories the way they want to tell them. And I also want to be able to create a place where people of all types of backgrounds can come and watch different shows and really consume it in a way that they may not be getting that experience elsewhere. And ultimately, I want to be able to, somebody said the other day, said there's no great Black businesses anymore. And, and I think that, as an entrepreneur, I want Collide TV to be a great business, first and foremost, but I also want it to be something of pride for people of color, so that they know it's something that supports the community, it reflects the community, and it informs, it informs and empowers the community.
Well, thank you. I know that will happen. I'm looking forward to watching Collide as it zooms to become one of the big legacy Black businesses. So thank you for joining us, and thanks for being a Thrive guest. Yeah, thank you all for being part of Thrive. You will find all of the posts and information on Lateef and Collide TV on his post. You can see some of the trailers for the show and everything that you need to know to be part of Collide TV. Thank you.